All right. Good morning, everyone. I am calling to order the Connecticut State Advisory Council for Special Education Executive Committee meeting on Wednesday, February 11th, at 9:34. Okay, do we have any public comment?
We do not have anyone for public comment.
All right, thank you. Okay, let's take a look at our consent agenda for January 7th. Minutes, I did myself find one correction. Let me find it. It was on the second page under annual report, the
Okay.
paragraph. It says motion to approve with the 25 SAC annual report. I think we just want to get rid of the word that with. So motion to approve the annual report with recommended corrections. So,
And I had a one correction as well.
okay.
There was a part where it said 2026 and it should say 2025.
Do you know where that is, Jen?
I'm bad. I don't have it open right now. I
No, it's
just
okay. I'm
remember
looking. Okay.
seeing it yesterday,
Thank you.
when I was reading
Oh,
it.
it's the December, I
Yeah,
think, minutes.
Yes.
Okay.
yeah,
Beautiful. Thank you for that catch.
section 3.
Okay. Perfect. Thanks.
You guys are good.
Yeah, that was good. Still doing that on my checks too, by the way.
Oh,
All right. Any other corrections? All right, then I'll take a motion to approve with those two corrections.
I'll make a motion to approve with those corrections.
I'll second.
Jen? Who was that? Jeff?
Yeah.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, any opposed? And Nachi abstain?
Yes, because I wasn't there.
We did miss you. Okay. All right, so let's go to old business, our legislative breakfast. I had to clarify with Christine the time because for some reason I've had lots of different times
It's 9 to 10.
for
right?
this, for when it was beginning. So according to Christine and Lauren, we have February 25th. The breakfast itself is from 9 to 10. Okay.
And we based that off of
Wow.
last year. We just did the hour.
Okay. I had 10 written on several places, so I really wasn't sure. So we needed to get that clarified.
Yeah.
Okay.
How long do we have the room for though? Because last year we had the legislators hung out for a long time, talking, asking questions. Because I think we used to do 2 hours. Am I correct? We used to hold the room for 2 hours. The breakfast was 2 hours, not one.
I just recall last year. Last year was 1 hour, so I'm not sure.
Okay. All right. But do you remember, Christine, like they were hanging?
They did, but we'll have to talk a little bit when we go into like the start time for our full council too, because they could stay for a little bit, but then we also have our full council meeting, shortly after.
And are we definitely don't have the LOB for a meeting?
Correct.
We do not.
Okay. Okay,
And
great.
we have to be out by 10:30.
Oh, thank you, Lauren. Hi,
You're
Lauren.
welcome.
Thank
Hi.
you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. That will help Missy and Brandolyn figure out their presentation and how much time for
Yeah.
Well,
for
we'll talk
questions.
about that.
We
Yeah.
Not
actually
just
have to be
our
out.
presentation.
My apologies. We only have the room from 9 till 10. They are starting to set up for something else, so they're giving us grace. That's why they're saying because this legislative session is tough. So we only have it for that hour. They have to absolutely be out by 10:30.
Okay.
All right.
So
Well, I
if there
guess
are
that makes
lingering,
it pretty definite.
yeah, and if there are any lingering conversations, like you just need a few more minutes, because this is the back room of the dining hall. You could go into the dining space, the regular dining space that people just, casually eat in, and you could hold any additional conversations, out there.
Correct. I just believe they're setting up for something else.
Yeah. Thank you, Lauren.
You're welcome.
Okay, so I did meet with Brian and Christine to talk about what actually happens. I've only been to one of these, Brian. I went last year. That was the first one I've ever been to. So it's like this is it is what it is. And so the outlay that Brian gave me was that I could start off by introducing myself, as well as I can introduce the members of our council that we have there. Welcome everybody that's there. And then I would introduce Brian, and Brian said that he would give some comments and stuff of that nature as far as what we've been doing. And then from that, he suggested that we have members of our council that speak to our priorities. And so he said that we could either have one person just speak to all of it, or what he thought would be better off, and which I think would probably make a lot more sense, is if we just kind of divided it up and spoke to our priorities and what that looked like. And very briefly, though, I mean, this is like just a couple of minutes, so it's not anything in length. So I was just looking for a priority page here. Let me pull it up.
It sounds good. There's four priority areas that we're focusing on, so we have 4 people.
Yes. So,
Are you gonna
We look at
plan the
the-
details at the meeting tomorrow with the executive committee? I mean, not the executive, I'm sorry, the legislative, with the work group, not committee.
Thank you.
we
catch.
can do that. I forgot we were meeting tomorrow.
Yeah, because
Is
I
everybody going to
thought
be
that
able
was,
to be at that? Okay.
yeah. I
Okay.
am planning on being there for part of it.
Okay. Yeah, we can do that. That's not a problem.
But you
Probably
won't,
be better to have that conversation then.
yeah, and you won't have Nachi or Catherine though. That's the only thing.
Tomorrow's a state holiday.
Ah. Okay, well then, Nachi, what would you like to volunteer to discuss before tomorrow?
The first priority that we have on our flyer, social emotional.
Okay. I assumed you would. Thank you.
Mental health, yeah.
Okay. All right, and then we can talk about the other ones tomorrow. Okay. So think about what you'd like to do. That would be good. All right. Well, that was easy enough. Here we go.
Yeah,
Any other questions about the breakfast? Go ahead, Susan.
Will there be a reminder going out to the SAC and with also, because usually you need a count from SAC members, how many are going to be there for food?
Yes, no, we're sending out a reminder for everybody, full sack. And we'll resend the flyer again, just so they have it one more time to
Right.
send out. Um, so on the flyer itself is a registration link. And Lauren, if you want to speak to that when you have a minute, that's fine. But the registration link is for the SAC members. It's going to be both for the breakfast and the in-person. And then any legislators could also use that, but we'll divide it out on our end who is what on that registration link.
Right. And people might also, because I had someone respond to me that they might go, an aide, but they might have that, but the person might not be registering, if that makes any sense. They might not take the time to register. So you might want to get that information.
They could just email Lauren, because also on the flyer is Lauren's email. So sending her
right.
just
But
a quick email too.
working with
Or they'll have
legislators
to
and
register
aides.
here.
Yeah, they're
Or they'll
so
have to
busy.
register there.
Right, but sometimes they're so busy that they only might tell their constituent. And I just want to make sure that if you might want to just say, we encourage them to register, but if you know of somebody that responded directly to you, because does that make any sense? It's such a busy time for them.
I know that last year there were people who walked in that had not
Mhm.
registered,
Yeah.
legislators
We're
and
accounting
stuff
for
that had walked in.
Right,
So we'll just need to keep track of who is there.
And
Yeah.
from legislators, that's correct. But if it's someone from the council, they do need to register. That is the assumption that everybody should and should register.
So
we have the
just make that
numbers.
super clear, because I didn't get that assumption. I thought that was a legislator registration. So just make it everything like just super clear and simple. That's really awesome for our members. And then you'll have copies, Missy. Do you remember the annual report? We had copies for the legislators. We had all that kind of stuff.
So we
Copy-
talked through
yeah.
with Brian yesterday. Absolutely. And with the annual report, we only did we didn't do like a mass production of the annual report. I think last year we only did like 5 or 10 copies of it. Just because to print it out. So Brian said even just having a few on hand would be great, with the annual
Fabulous.
report. But the one pager is definitely enough for everybody.
Great. And the name tags and the sign-in sheet. And I'm thinking when we do our, Missy, whenever you want to go over that policies and procedures, all this stuff is super important to put down for the next generation. Like name tags,
I just
copies.
also wanted
Yeah.
to note that maybe we could just have a QR code to the annual report that's linked online, because some people may not want a paper copy, but they just would like to scan it and have it on their phone and keep going.
That's awesome.
And it's also environmentally friendly.
Win-win.
Oh, it's a great idea.
Is it up on the website? I haven't looked
No.
at the website lately.
Yeah, not yet.
We
The
can't
annual
give them a
report.
QR code unless we have it up to.
Yeah, no, we're gonna put that.
for.
Yeah, because we talked to Brian yesterday about all that. So, we'll definitely, now that we're disseminating it, which we'll get to in a minute. As soon as we disseminate it, we'll put it also simultaneously up onto the website. So with that, we could do the QR code. With that, so that works.
And then we could just make little things that we can put on at each of the tables and stuff.
Like a little
and
card.
whatever.
We could do that.
So where can I find the ask, that is on the line, you said?
What was that, Jeff?
The things, our wish list that we have, the one pager, where is that online?
The one pager should be in one of the emails that I sent.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to find.
Let me see if I can find when I sent it. I think it was the last full council. But I'll resend all that again as well.
That
Just
would
so
be
you guys.
great, because
Yeah.
I'm looking, and it's so much stuff.
I know that's Lauren and I too in our email boxes.
Yeah, so that would be very helpful to have, And
Yeah, it was
do it
definitely
today
for the
so we have
full
it for
council.
tomorrow. If you could do it today, so we could have it for tomorrow. So,
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Absolutely. We could do that.
I just sent it to you, Jeff.
Nachi, thank
Excellent.
you.
All right. So reminders will go out. We'll make it clear that we have to register. That's good because I haven't done that yet either. So we'll do that. And then once it's once the annual report is up, we'll get a QR code and we'll put that out there. Along, we will have some hard copies because there are some people who like to look at hard copies. And we'll have copies of the priorities and recommendations there. Okay. All right. Anything else? Good thoughts. Good thoughts.
Are we in housekeeping now?
We are in, no, not quite.
Okay.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Yes.
Where
I
are we
don't know
missing?
where we are. We're in old
I
business.
think
We
we're
just
still on
finished
the
that. We're in
breakfast.
house.
Like, do we
Okay.
talk about the presentation yet or no?
So maybe Brandolyn, we did that before you popped on. So I will do introduce myself, quick introduction, say hello, welcome. I'll introduce the members that are with us there, and just kind of review what they have before them. I will introduce Brian. Brian will give a little blurb. And then what we'll do is we will, for example, the social emotional issue is the next one. So Brian will actually introduce Nachi because Nachi would like to speak to that particular one. And it's just for a couple of minutes. So tomorrow we will discuss which of you would like to have a conversation or introduce our priority and recommendations. Again, just very quickly, but we'll do that conversation tomorrow.
Oh yeah, no, I think I just wanted to make sure like there's no actual like slide deck or anything. We're just doing
No.
okay,
No,
that's like
because
one
we
thing.
have,
Okay. That's
yeah,
all.
we don't have any ability to do that.
Okay.
We'll be able to do that for our meeting across the way, but we don't have the ability to do
Okay.
that.
Yep, thank you.
Okay. Okay, so now I believe we are at housekeeping. And we have annual report process for sending it out. We did meet, Brian and I and Christine did meet. There are legislative groups that this has to be sent out to per legislation. So we will do that. I used what Susan wrote as a intro little piece. Just tweaked it so it had my information and stuff on it. And Christine and Lauren will get those sent out to those specified groups, as well as the education committee. I think that's what we decided. Yes, Christine?
That was perfect. Yeah. We'll be doing that ASAP because we know the deadline's approaching.
Do we do early childhood education or is that necessary committee as well? Any thoughts, Missy?
I don't know. I mean, we could send it out to the world as far as I'm concerned. I don't have a problem with that. I know that, you know, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what's been done in the past. I don't know what, I mean, I know that Brian specified that there are certain groups, legislative groups that we have to get it to.
So can I
And
just
for the
say that I think
purposes-
that would be a great precedent to set if we have not done that, especially as more students are identified. You know, my personal passion is around the birth to three process into special education. So the more people that we can reach,
So-
especially with the Parents' Bill of Rights, so that would be really helpful.
Jen?
Just for your knowledge, guys, our charge as a SAC is 3 through 22. The ICC, the Interstate Coordinating Council, is our counterpart on the early childhood. We've been talking about it for years, trying to coordinate with them on how we can leverage each other's groups to have, more meaningful recommendations. But that group is for that, and we're for the school age, which doesn't prohibit us from sharing, but like other states actually collaborate more, and we have just never done it.
Yeah, and we could send it out to whomever you guys would like. The only thing I might ask is just give us emails, names or emails of the group or the person, wherever we're sending it to. So if you can email that to us, but we'll disseminate it. Because one thing Brian did say, we have the 5 that we must do per the legislation. But anyone else, that you feel has an interest in this report, we definitely can send to them.
Just thank you. To Jen's point that it's well taken. I think it has been brought up in the past, and I think we shouldn't let much more time go by before we at least try to connect with that group and have maybe 1 or 2 meetings together in some way to coordinate, because Part B and Part C really are supposed to be seamless together. And especially if other states do have those joint connections, I think it would be important for us to at least reach out and have some sort of communication going forward.
Would that just be more like the executive committee that we would meet, like try to reach out, or as a full SAC?
Maybe initially
I
it
think it
could
would,
be that.
yeah. Yeah, that might be a good place to start, is if we could maybe get, if there's somebody specific that we could reach out to and look at our dates, maybe we could invite someone to one of our meetings, and then have some conversation of how we can maybe, I have a feeling my daughter has given me her sore throat. It's starting to go for me. And I was a meanie and sent her to school today.
No, that's a good idea to invite them to an executive meeting, and then take it from there, because certainly we want to address any unmet needs in the transition between birth to 3 and 3 to 22.
Yeah, because when I think of the transition, I mean, the Parent Bill of Rights, I mean, like I've always spoke about, it would have been amazing to have that coming out of birth to 3 and just understanding what your rights are. So I agree.
And Missy, you have now the connection with the Tao Institute, and they're always doing legislation. Maybe something sent from you, our annual report, so they know what we're up to, in case they have any cross purposes.
Okay. Okay, all good suggestions. I think it's a very good thing to do. Okay. I know that when we were dealing with birth to 3, it was whatever, but it would have been very helpful to have something of this nature. All right. Let's see where we're going from here. Annual report process, new business, setting agenda for our full council meeting.
Wait a second, Missy. I have
birth.
housekeeping.
Yeah.
I had housekeeping. Sorry.
Okay,
I had a quick
sorry.
question. No, it's okay. I just had a quick question because we had Lauren on. I went out when I reread the minutes from our January meeting. It said housekeeping, Lauren will have the registration for the April 22nd meeting up by the end of the week. And I went to go register and it's not up yet. She will have the registration up. Did I not get it, or did maybe someone else has it? I just want to make sure that I'm not doing something wrong.
Nope, you're not doing something wrong. That was good
Okay.
when they had a change over, so they sent over a contract. So we're waiting for that to be signed. We cannot put out that we're having an event somewhere until the contract's signed. That's why
Fabulous.
registration's not up.
Okay, great. Just want to double check. Thank you. I just want to make sure because sometimes I miss meetings and things like that.
Okay, any other housekeeping? I should put that in my notes so I remember to ask. Okay. All right. New business. Set agenda for the full council meeting on February 25th. So that would be our council meeting that takes place after the breakfast. Again, I'd like to clarify some time. And Christine can clarify the place for us. So it would be 10:30 to, I think originally we had said 1. Our meetings usually go till 2. But do we have a specific time frame for pronounce the name of the place we're going?
I think it's the Lyceum is the
Lyceum.
pronunciation of it.
Okay.
Yeah. And we've used it before at Cirque, and it's a great place to hold anything. So yeah, as far as the contractual times are, I believe it's 10 to 2. Lauren, you could correct me, or is it 10 to 2:30 on the contract? I know I saw it. It's okay. She might be driving.
My apologies. Yeah, it's only until 2 o'clock.
It's only till 2. Thank you. Okay, so 10:30 to 2. Well, 10 to 2, but it'll give us a little time to set up too. But 2 is the time we have to end at.
Okay. Okay. And where exactly will we be going to? You said it was walking distance, right? So we could walk from the building to.
Yeah, it's about maybe 1 to 2 blocks away. So it's right out of the LOB. I believe it's to the right, and then it's right there on the left. So you could, but there is parking. So say you do want it, not good weather day, or you don't really want to walk. You could take your car from the LOB, and they do have parking at the Lyceum.
Oh, I just thought of something. If we do have a bad weather day, how do we reach everybody? Because we had that once. Do you remember that? I just thought, because man, we've been having some bad weather.
Yeah, it's been a wintry winter.
I can't even believe it.
No,
Yeah.
spring is coming. It's right. My husband's tomatoes are up about this high. Spring is coming. But that's a very good question. So I don't know. How do you
Yeah.
we cancel something or how do we?
For us, it's probably the best is via email for anybody who registered. That's why registration is so important, because if something does come up.
That's our only way to get in touch with them.
Yeah.
And they have in the confirmation email, it has all the information for if Cirque closes. It tells them where to go and the email address or phone number. All of that is in the confirmation information when they register.
Oh, and I'm sorry, I just thought of something when Jen was saying about directions to the Lyceum. I think the first year we were at the LOB, we had a problem because a lot of people had never been there before and didn't know where to park. And I remember you, Christine, you were so great and you put in great parking information for everybody.
It's in the confirmation.
Yep. And when I send the email out to the SAC Full Council, I'm also going to include the parking for both the LOB, because there is actually, I think, a PDF we could grab of that one. I think that's what I included last time. And then also the Lyceum, just so people know exactly where to go.
Awesome. Awesome. What you did last year was so super
thank you.
helpful. Thank
So
you.
Jeff put this in chat. And so it's here and arriving by car. So it gives you some directions right
beautiful.
here. So,
And
and a map. So that's helpful for me. Okay.
I will
All
PDF that and attach to the email.
Christine, it's in the registration information.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. Very good. Thank you.
The other thing I'm going to include too, because sometimes at the LOB, the parking there, especially the visitor parking, can get parked up very quickly, depending on what hearings they're having that day or just what they're doing for legislative session. So there is alternative parking with a little bit of walking distance. So I will include an asterisk for that. I tend to park. There's a parking garage near the Connecticut Education Association. You do have to pay for it, but at least if something's happening at the LOB, parking gets really parked up quick. There's an alternative to that as well. But at least the LOB, the visitor spots are free. And hopefully we're having it early enough that won't be a problem, but you never know.
Missy, do you want us there early? Because I think we used to meet like 8:30, the executive beforehand. Just just let us,
That's fine with me. I'll probably be there, so, that's fine with me, just to help out with whatever needs to be done, so.
And you all know I started a new position last week, so I'm still getting my schedule together, but I will let you all know as soon as I can. It is my plan to be there, but this whole transition has not been on my list of things to do in life, so I'm just taking it all in. But I will have
You're
my
good,
my
you're
schedule
good.
very soon.
It's crazy, huh? It's crazy.
and don't forget
It's okay.
it's Miss Jennifer's birthday that day.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm writing that down.
I'm going to be 21.
Okay.
Jeff, really quickly,
What's your favorite flavor cake, Jen?
Jeff, are you driving up?
I like chocolate or white cake.
Okay.
Jeff, you're muted.
I'm going up, but I'm gonna be driving from my home. I won't be able to coordinate. It's gonna be a tough time for me to get there by 9, so.
Yeah, I'm gonna do the best I can. Okay, no worries.
I'm gonna be racing out of the house, jumping on the highway, getting on the Merritt, just after feeding my 3 dogs.
Okay. All right. Anything else about our full council meeting? I'm sure we'll be talking with Brian as far as what his presentation and stuff. I know that in the minutes, yeah, we'll talk about what he's going to be presenting and stuff of that nature, but unfortunately he couldn't be here today, so. All right, if he's I don't know if he's coming to the meeting tomorrow, probably. Okay. Membership committee, Catherine's not here. I don't know if anybody, oh,
It's me.
there she is. How are you?
Good morning. I'm sorry I came in late. I was in another meeting and then hopped right
I
on. So I
didn't
apologize.
see you sneak in. All right.
Good morning. So we have 3 student vacancies. We have 1 potential applicant. We have 1 para vacancy, 2 legislative vacancies, 1 teacher vacancy, 1 charter school vacancy, and now we have 1 vacancy for the Department of Corrections. That was a recent resignation. We have quite a few applications that have come in. I was waiting for the last few to come in last week, and they did come in. So I will be scheduling. And bear with me, this is a new position. So I will be reaching out to Christine to schedule a meeting for the members, the committee to meet to discuss those applications because we have quite a few. It's around 11, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, wow. And Jovi, are those applications for what? Which position?
They're mainly for para and teacher.
Okay. That's fabulous. And usually we announce at the breakfast our positions of legislators. So I don't know, Missy, how you want to do that.
I'm sorry?
We usually announce, well, we have captive legislators, that we have legislative positions. I didn't mean to say captive.
Maybe one of our current legislators would like to announce that.
Mm.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm glad we have all of those applications, so that's very good. I'm very sad that Rita, unfortunately had to leave from the Department of Corrections. I thought she was a vital member, so hopefully she will be able to recommend, somebody, that could take her position.
Yeah, I think it's important to have representation from them.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, thank you. And legislative committee report.
Well, so we're gonna meet tomorrow. I had written to Brian to ask about any, stuff that's in the pipeline here. I haven't heard anything from him. I don't know of anything, but, we drafted a letter. Christine's gonna send it out to, the members, the head members of the education committee, just kind of letting them know that we're, where we are, et cetera. Also to, our representatives, Comey and Gajowski, just kind of putting them on notice. And then tomorrow we'll discuss, at our meeting, we'll discuss who's gonna say what to the legislature at the LOB.
But just remember, this is a work group meeting, yes,
Yeah,
for us to do those pieces, not an official committee meeting.
right, yeah.
And Jeff, did you give me a quick little write-up for the body of the email when I sent to the education committee? I can't recall if that was in the email or not.
What's the question?
Sorry. What I might need before sending anything along to the legislators is just a little bit of a body in the email from you, stating kind of what's in the email. But you did you send that to me or no? I can't recall.
I have sent to you the legislator stuff.
I know the letters, but just a quick little, even for the body of it. So when they first open it up, they know what they're looking at.
Okay. I mean, I could give you something, I guess.
Even just a few sentences, just so it's in your words.
Okay, so it's basically just an enclosure email to you that you can.
Yep, dear,
Okay,
or yeah.
I'll take it. Yep, I will definitely do that.
Thank you. That would be appreciative. Thank you.
No problem.
Okay. Thank you. All right. Anything else that we forgot to talk about? Any other questions that we might have for the good of the cause here? All right. So those on the legislative work group, we will see you tomorrow. Let's see.
And Tom,
Action
just
items.
to note that because the state's closed tomorrow, that Tom Kosker had sent out a link. So if you're on the your legislative committee, look for Tom Kosker's email with his link, okay?
Okay, I did not get that. So, all right.
He sent the link out 2 days ago. Missy, you're on here, but I can forward it to you.
Okay, I will look if I'm on there, so that's fine.
Yeah, you might not have picked up on it because it was from Tom, so.
Okay.
Are we getting more snow? I have a quick question. A backloader just pulled up in my neighborhood and is moving snow.
I hope not. I don't think so. I hope not.
Sorry, as a non sequitur, I was like, what?
They're probably just moving the stuff that hasn't melted yet.
All right. Any other questions? And then we can talk about snow after we end our meeting. Anything else?
I'm all set.
All right, then I need a motion to adjourn. Susan? Okay. All in favor, say bye.
All right, but I was looking for Susan at the Grammys. You didn't get an award this year.
Can we
Are we
stop
still
recording?
Can we stop recording?
Hold on. We will. Give me a minute.